Hello and welcome. You're listening to.
Hurry! The movie is starting podcast!
Alright, so we're here today talking about Death of a Unicorn again, but this time it is going to be a review of the A24 movie by Alex Schwartzman, Death of a Unicorn. So if you have not seen this movie, go watch it. Trust me, it's a solid watch. Go watch it. Because there are going to be spoilers in this podcast, and I don't want to spoil anything if you want to enjoy a solid movie. So, with that being said, from here on out, there is going to be spoilers. I warned you. Go watch the movie. So, I don't know why my voice is... Oh, actually, people are sleeping. That's why my voice is so, light and fluffy today. So, you guys are getting the light and fluffy version of my voice. Oh, my gosh. Okay, anyways, so... I thought Death of a Unicorn was a solid movie. I was thinking it might get dumb there for a second, but I thought it was pretty solid. There are obviously a couple of faults in the script, and not necessarily terrible things, but it's just some decisions that were made in the script that you're like, oh, come on. But honestly, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the outcome of the movie. I'm gonna jump right into my first spoiler. One trope we had was Paul Rudd died, but he is brought back to life by these unicorns because they have magical powers, and obviously they can bring people back to life. If you didn't know that, I mean, what are you doing with your life? You're not studying unicorns? Come on, bro. Anyways. Yeah, so he's brought back to life by these unicorns, and while, yes, it does feel a little safe because, oh, the main character's dad is brought back. I thought I was gonna get the prediction right, where they're gonna her dad's gonna be dead, and then they just take her off to a distant land. So unfortunately, that didn't happen. But her dad did die. He was brought back to life, and then they were potentially saved by the unicorns at the end. So the ending of the movie, there's nothing after the credits, by the way. And the end of the movie is they're being driven off in a police car because the unicorns disappear, and then the cops show up to see that this house is just filled with dead bodies, and they're the only ones there, so obviously they're going to blame them. And then the movie ends with them being driven off by police, and then the unicorns coming up and then crashing into their car to make the car crash. So it is kind of a quote-unquote softer ending, but at the same time I still enjoyed the movie. I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I did think A24 did a great job. It is what we thought it was going to be. It is a movie fueled by greed and corruption and just selfishness and all those terrible things that you don't like to see in this world that this movie is full of. So, as I said before, this movie it's fueled by greed. This family, they see, once they realize the unicorn's healing powers, they are obsessed with it to the point where they are willing to do anything at any time to get this unicorn body away so they can keep using its features. There's even one point where after the old man, Richard Grant's character is his tumors have disappeared because he's taken some of the unicorn horn into his body and injected it into his blood. He's fully healed from cancer, so that's another thing. He has cancer, and then he finds out that the unicorn has potentially healing factors. So then, he gets so obsessed to the point where he cooks up a steak from this unicorn's body and starts eating it. And I swore I thought he was going to turn into a unicorn, because after he takes a bite of the steak, he does one of these little little neigh things. And you're like, oh shit, this is when he's turning into a unicorn. But no, it's just a. I think it's just one of those things where he's conquering his enemy, so he just kind of makes fun of it in that moment. But that was an interesting moment. Also, Will Poulter, his son, he starts. They're grinding down the unicorn's horn into a dust, and then this dude obviously pours it out on the table and starts snorting it. And there's moments too where you're like, okay, this guy's definitely going to transform into a unicorn. He doesn't. He does not. But it's just, man, to see that what the family is going through to be able to just get this product out there for themselves. They don't necessarily, it makes it seem from the trailer that they kind of care about mass humanity, oh, we can save the world with this. But no, it's all for themselves. They're selling immediately once they find out what it does. They're calling their higher up friends, the people with money in this world, and they're trying to get it to them and selling it to the highest bidder so they can make a pretty penny. And they do make a ton of money in the process, but not without sacrifices, as these other unicorns, I think it's the mother and father unicorn, and they hit the baby with the car. So this baby is the one that they have that's a dead body, but the mother and father come on the hunt and try and get their baby back. So that's their mission, is to come get their baby back. And obviously the humans don't want that because they see a gold mine right in front of them, and it's frustrating. It is frustrating because, I mean, it's easy for us to look out and see, like, okay, obviously Jenna Ortega is right. But fun fact, there are tapestries, 7 tapestries shown in this movie. Those tapestries are real, which is insane because there's actually tapestries in real life in a museum in, I believe, New York, that has unicorns on it, like has a unicorn on it, and like tells a story about a unicorn. So that's like, it makes you think, like, did unicorns really exist? I mean, maybe they did. It wouldn't be the craziest thing, right? There's just a horse with a horn on it. But yeah, obviously in this movie they're filled with magical features. But it sucks because you're siding with Jen Ortega's character because she doesn't trust this family. She just wants to get out of there. She doesn't feel like they're supposed to be there. She's like researched into the story and sees that back in the day, back in the old tapestry era, that they were obsessed with the unicorns and were doing anything they could to get it and use its powers to heal themselves. Like, it's just greed in it from the past. And once she sees this, she's trying to talk everyone out of like keeping the unicorn. But obviously people are like, their eyes are full of money back, so they don't want to listen to her. And then the unicorns start killing people, and then they're like, oh, maybe we should listen to her. Actually, no, they're not like that at all, because they're still corrupt with greed and power. But eventually Paul Rudd like listens to her, and it sucks because, like, I get it. Like, oh, their backstory is his wife, her mother died suddenly, I believe, of like cancer or something like that. And then it was Paul Rudd took on the responsibility of, okay, I'm going to do whatever I can to survive for us, so I can take this job and make money and be that key for us to survive this tragedy. And like, you see that version of him, but at the same time he is siding so much with this corrupt family of millionaires, like, over his daughter. And it's really sad to see. And like, I get it that you have to have conflict in this movie, but like, he's constantly like telling her like, oh, be quiet, oh, she doesn't mean that, or oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And I can't just help but feel like abandonment for her, because this is her only parent left. And yes, she's not a kid, she's like a full teenager here in this movie, I believe. And like, you obviously, it just feels like abandonment to me, because there's so many situations where she's like, everyone's making her seem like the crazy person because she's not the one that's corrupted by greed. She can care less about that. She just wants to do the right thing. She's seen like a look into this unicorn's, like, what it wanted her to see in this like universe just full of vastness. And she even said that she saw her mom in its eyes. So she sees the magical properties, but not as something to exploit, as something to protect or let be. And nobody else sees that. So they're all being picked off one by one. And it just sucks to see. Like, there's moments where they're like, it's just the Will Poulter's character and Taya Leone's character, the mom and son, and like, they're just sacrificing. They have like a scientist that's left, and they're sacrificing her to like be able to save themselves. Then they have a butler. His name is Griff, and I feel like everyone in the movie theater is rooting for this guy. Because like, even when the unicorns first come and they're trying to break in the house, they're all like arguing about like how they're going to take this unicorn or how they're going to transport it. And Griff is over here covering up the door with like heavy objects, and he's like, we're wasting our time here. And it's just funny because he's like, I feel like he's the character that we all are thinking, and he's just saying everything out loud. And obviously they use him to try and get themselves free too. So it's sad to see like all these people, like, this guy has worked with them for years. And there's even a point where they volunteer him to go outside to be like, to open the gate and potentially get killed by the unicorns, when he's like, I don't want to, like, I have a daughter. And Taya Leone, who has been his boss for like double digit years, says, wait, you have kids? So it just shows that like lack of closeness, and that they don't see these people as people, but just as tools to further their own personal vendettas and whatnot. And it's just sad because people like this really exist, but it is what it is. It's just sad to see them like willing to sacrifice whatever they could. There's even like, oh man, there's even a point where Taya Leone is like on a pool table getting torn apart by a unicorn, and she opens up an oxygen tank so that Will Poulter can shoot it with a flaming arrow and blow like her up, but the unicorn up in the process, killing two birds with one stone because she's gonna die anyway, so she doesn't really care. However, Will Poulter mentions earlier, like, oh, we can't do that because we're going to blow up the unicorn, and that's going to blow up, like, that's going to ruin everything, because if the unicorn's blown up, they're not going to get their money. So, like, she does this, and she's dying, and she opens up the oxygen tank, and he lights up a bow, an arrow, and he's getting ready to, like, potentially fire it at her. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And then, like, runs away. So that got me thinking, like, this character is shown to be a coward like throughout this movie, like multiple times he appears to be a coward. He also appears to be someone who's like running off other people, like his parents' validation. Like he'll say something and then nobody agrees with him, so he'll immediately change it, like, oh, okay, well, no one else is thinking that either. So you can tell like he is less of himself and more so like running for his, like, to get approval from his parents. And like his dad is like a scary character, honestly. Once he heals up, it's crazy to see, because like, but when he's all sick, he's all about hope and faith and stuff like that. And once he gets healed up from the unicorn, like he tears off his rosary beads. He says like, oh, we don't need hope anymore or something like that. So he's completely, just because now he's back to normal, he's completely over needing hope and faith in religion. So it just sucks to see something like that. But yeah, Will Poulter's character is a coward, and it made me think, like, when he didn't shoot the arrow to blow it up, like, did he do that for his mom because he didn't want to shoot his mom, or did he do that because he didn't want to blow up his payday? And it's 100% because he didn't want to blow up his payday because of like what happens in the following act, where he, like, because he's been snorting so much of this unicorn horn, he is like accessed a new part of his brain, and he's able to think at a higher level he ever has before. So he is able to understand the tapestries and realize that the key to capturing these unicorns is a pure-hearted maiden, which is Jenna Ortega's character. And it's so interesting to see, because the unicorns just go up to her and just fall asleep on her lap. So it's like it's very interesting to see, and it's all like his plan to capture him, and he ties him up and everything. But then here comes Paul Rudd. Finally, it only took an hour and 40 minutes for him to finally side with his daughter. So you get a full 9 minutes of them actually like bonding. Well, not even 9 minutes, because he dies there for a couple of minutes. But finally, it takes an hour and 40 minutes for Paul Rudd to finally side with his daughter, and he ends up stabbing Will Poulter, to which Will Poulter stabs back. They both die, but obviously the unicorns come and rub their horns together, revive their kid unicorn, and then revive Paul Rudd. Another question I did have too, though, these unicorns, when they're attacking everyone, they are like fully pitch black, not pitch black, but they're all like colored black. And then once they rub their horns, it creates like this giant sphere of like smoke and clouds and galaxy, and explodes. And the unicorns are no longer black, they're white. So I was wondering, like, I wonder if that like just that turns them back into their pure selves, where if they're like the black versions, they're like faltered to this world and doing what they must do to like overcome, and then when they're white, that's their purest form. But I don't know, that's just a theory. I couldn't really, like, I was trying to look up on afterwards and see if there was anything on that, but I didn't really see anything on that, unfortunately. So might have to wait for a heavy spoilers breakdown of this one at the end. And another thing this movie did a great job of touching on is the fallacy of overconsumption. Like, we've seen it during COVID, the toilet paper years, where just we get scared and we just overconsume, or we're like, I don't know, like just seeing them overconsume this unicorn is just crazy. Like, Richard Grant's character first gets injected into his IV, and then he's back to normal, but then they're making drinks with it. They're drinks with the unicorn blood, and they're drinking like the blood. Mind you, he's already healed, so there's no point for him to keep like consuming this product. But he's going to, because it's his and he can do whatever he wants with it. So he does it that way. So that's twice. Then he's eating a freaking steak, a purple steak, and that's like the third time. And then um, right before they're going out to hunt the unicorn like parent, he he injects like another IV with this unicorn stuff. So he's consumed this four times within a like I think maybe like 2 hour period in the movie. So it just did a great job of touching on this like overconsumption and just greed and it's unfortunately like a one of the bad parts of human nature is just even like for me when I used to get high, I would already be high, but I would keep going just to feel something like more, and that something more would never come because obviously there's a ceiling, but that's human nature. Sometimes it's just human nature, and I think the movie did a great job on touching on that. The thing I thought it did a great job of touching is Paul Rudd's like he's saying the whole time that he's doing this for his daughter, yet not necessarily strictly for his daughter, but he's saying I need to do this for us to survive, or I need to do this for us so we can have the life we wanted. Oh, I'll stop in 10 years or 5 to 10 years, but based on like his actions where he constantly shuts out his daughter, it seems like it's less for her and more for him to feel like something more for himself. And it sucks because like yeah, this is a movie, but like these are situations that happen in life where we have to like take a step back and think like, okay, wait, am I really doing this for her or am I doing this for myself? And eventually he realizes that he's not really been there for his daughter, and that he's seems like he is doing this for himself. So he finally actually like makes a change at the end. But I just thought it did a really solid job at that. I did see some people complaining about how Paul Rudd's character was written, and I think that is partially because he's so like against his daughter the whole movie. He's siding with these like characters because they keep promising his partnership or partnership, and then you find out like they don't give two like Will Poulter's character even says like, oh, you were going to be the guy at the bottom of the totem pole that we blamed anyway for corruption or whatever. It's like he was just going to be the scapegoat in the end. So it's like they he was choosing people that were only choosing him to use him as a sacrifice, when like his daughter is just right there like choosing him because she loves him. That's her father. That's who is there for her. And it's just I thought they did a great job on showing that. Another cool little concept was that the unicorn's constantly healing. So like even the baby unicorn that's been dead like the whole movie, because he hits it for originally, then it's like it's not dead, so then he hammers it in the head so it can actually die, and that's where they find out it has healing powers because the blood gets on them. But then from that it's still alive, so they shoot it in the head. Then from that it is actually dead for the like most of the movie, but it's constant, like the scientists are saying like its body is reversing and it is like actually healing. So that was a funny thing to see, because I was wondering the whole time like, oh, okay, is this unicorn gonna come back to life? But it turns out it's the baby, and its parents are the ones that are like mad and trying to get it back. Which it's funny after seeing Mickey 17, because it's like the same concept of like exploitation of creatures, but this one's definitely more so of the exploitation aspect of it. And yeah, I think Alex Schwartzman did a really good job on this one. I thought like another good like full circle moment was father and daughter figure out life after death twice. So obviously they had to figure out life after death after her mom / his wife passed away. They had to figure out like, okay, what happens next? And then again, they have to like when Paul Rudd dies and he comes back, they have to figure out, okay, like this is life after death. And by that time Paul Rudd's already redeemed himself, so it's less so of a like a I guess learning experience and just more so of a be close with the ones you love situation. Because as we open up the movie, it shows Jenna Ortega like putting her head on his shoulder as she's asleep, and he's like you just see where this character lies, because he smiles because he's like, you can tell that he's been like longing for this closeness with his daughter, but he drops his work on the bottom of the plane, on the floor of the plane, and he's trying to figure out like, okay, should I pick it up? But I don't want to wake her up. So he's like wrestling with this idea to the point where he just quickly gets up and grabs the paper as his daughter like falls and like hits her head. And it just shows you in that small scene like how Paul Rudd's character is using not necessarily using his daughter, but like putting work on a higher pedestal than he currently has for her. So it's just like a quick little foreshadowing theme in the beginning. But I do think like obviously by the end of the movie he does change his motivations, and he like it shows them in the police car and she puts her head on his shoulder and he puts his head on her head, just like embracing her, and that's what he's wanted the whole time, but he obviously lost his way. So I thought it was did a great job of showing that full circle in the end. But yeah, I think that's all I got. For the those are all the pros of the movie. The cons, I just for me, I just didn't like how Paul Rudd like got to live at the end of it. Basically, one thing I did see from someone's comment on one of the like Reddit posts about the movie was that Paul Rudd was like one of the worst characters because of always like siding with the enemy rather than his daughter, and he didn't get punished for that, which he did because he got killed, but obviously he got brought back to life. So I can understand the not feeling like he got punished for it. But I do agree that he got like the easy way out of the whole like situation. But I mean that's just how movies go sometimes. The main character is going to come back to life, and we know that they have that Reiner plot armor sometimes. So that part was like it was just a little. It really didn't kill it too much for me. I was just like, oh, that sucks, but oh well. Um, I really like it was tough for me to find things wrong with this movie because I really agreed with Jenna Ortega's character that like these creatures aren't supposed to be like exploited. That this is they just want their baby, and like they can avoid all this death by just giving back the baby. But obviously, greed is not going to allow that. Let's see, what else did I not like about this movie? Yeah, I really like. There was really nothing else that I didn't like. I couldn't stand Paul Rudd constantly choosing like the other people's opinions over his daughter and just like throwing her under the bus multiple times. But that just made me get more emotion towards towards this movie. So I think they did a great job. Even the unicorn scenes like had you kind of like, oh, where are they? Where are they? Kind of it did feel kind of like a monster movie in that aspect. So I thought they did a great job of making like unicorns scary in this movie. So yeah, it was a 7.5 for me, and I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of people are gonna go like look past this movie. Um, A24 hits again. I think this is a solid movie. I think you're gonna if you want to go see it in theaters. I don't think you're gonna waste your money. I do think you will probably enjoy it. So definitely go watch it if you have some time. It is probably not movie for kids, as there is like multiple references to drugs and there's lots of violence and obviously like unicorns killing people. But I mean, yeah, I think it's just a great movie. It's not necessarily horror, but it is a psychological horror in the aspect of like people like this family does really exist where they're willing to do whatever they can to exploit something. And I think that's the real horror in this movie. And I will like to say that I guess that I predicted the over under on this movie would be over 5.5, and it is currently sitting at 6.3. So finally, first win of the season. I am now 1-3 on the season. And if you don't remember, pay attention to that record, because at the end of the year, aka the season, that record will be in play, and there will be some sort of giveaway. Yeah, there's a little bit more information than normal, so you can keep that one. But anyways, that's gonna be all for me. I'm looking to pregame something potentially this week or next week, but I don't know. There's so many good movies coming out in April. It's gonna be The Amateurs, one that looks like it's gonna be a solid movie, but then I think Until Dawn comes out next month too. Oh my gosh, there's just so many good movies. So just stay tuned because we're gonna have some more pre-games coming up soon. Also trying to get more people, like trying to ask more around for more people to see if we can get more guests, just to see what movie people are excited for, and get more like variety on the show for y'all. But as always, thank you so much for listening. God bless and have a good day. But don't forget, hurry! The movie's starting!